Greetings. In this video we are going to be looking at Rhythm Study number 1 on page 20 of the Christopher Parkening Classical Guitar Method, Volume 1. I will begin this video with advice for beginning guitarists and then move on to advice for intermediate guitarists. This material is provided in a progressively complex way, which is very well done, and I encourage you to fully assimilate this material before moving on. It will lay the groundwork for understanding it and internalizing it. Now, for this exercise, we are going to be playing string 1, the string closest to the ground, without any fret held down. So open is how we refer to that. And we'll get that note. What I'd encourage you to do is take your right hand thumb and place it on string 2. And if we anchor it there, then what happens is my right hand won't float around, and I can always just be right here hitting E and not have to think too much about my right hand positioning. And if I bump string number 2, it's only going to make a small percussive sound that's covered by string 1. So we don't have to worry about bumping extra strings. If you're bumping other strings for some reason, you can even tilt your hand further back and touch all the strings with the back of your thumb. This is great for rest strokes if you want to just hammer them out nice and loud. Now, in this exercise, we're going to be looking at 3 different note lengths. In music, we have beats that we organize into groups. In this case, this exercise is written in 4/4, which means 4 quarter notes in each grouping. And the groupings are delineated by a little vertical line. So you'll see 4 beats, or 4 quarter notes, I should say, and then a vertical line, and then you see 2 half notes, another vertical line. Each of those groupings of 4 beats is called a measure. So in the first measure, we have 4 quarter notes. If my beat is about this long, then this is what the first measure would sound like. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the second measure is comprised of half notes, and their length is 2 quarter notes. So it's twice as long as a quarter note. I should say 2 beats would be a better way of describing it. But it lasts the length of 2 quarter notes. And what that means is if a quarter note was a timeline that went from here to here, then a half note is double that. When we play these beats, it's a little bit confusing sometimes because we attack the note right at the beginning and then we let it ring. And those can feel like 2 separate sort of quantities or ideas. But we want to think of that beat as lasting that entire quarter of the measure. So if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, we're moving through time 1, 2, 3, 4, and it continuously keeps moving. It's a little bit difficult to conceptualize at first, but if you stick with it, you'll assimilate it. Now, the whole note that we see on measure 5, it has no stem and it's a hollow note head with the extra padding on the left and right. Lasts for 4 full beats. It would sound like this. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go ahead and play through this exercise together. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, one thing I would encourage you to do is to practice these exercises at different speeds. If you only play certain beat lengths at certain speeds, then you're going to start to always play that beat length at that same speed, and it's going to confuse your understanding of how rhythm is really notated. So for example, if you always play at 60 beats per minute, then you would always feel a half note in 2 seconds. And if you were playing at a faster speed, you'd come to a half note, and it would throw off your brain a little bit. So if we can take this music and play it at different speeds, then it'll help us to understand how to read music better. One thing you could do is start a metronome at 60 beats per minute and play through the exercise so you've mastered it, and then try it at 70 beats per minute, and then at 80, and then at 90, and just do increments of 10 beats per minute, and will help you to understand how rhythm works much better. Let's go ahead and play this exercise a little faster just to experience that together. I'm going to do something like this. Let's try that tempo together. 1, 2, ready, go. Now moving on to advice for intermediate guitarists, we're going to look at feeling the music in 1 and feeling the music in 2. When we feel the music in 2, we're taking those 4 pulses and reducing it to 2 pulses. So for example, that first measure, instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4 and having 4 sort of spikes in intensity, we're going to have 1, 2. We're going to emphasize 1 and 3 more than 2 and 4. I'm going to go ahead and play that again without counting so you can hear it more clearly. There's just a little bit more emphasis, but that emphasis has a very large impact. Let's go ahead and play through this whole exercise together. Ready, go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That is an excellent way to breathe life into a piece of music. If it feels a little bit forceful or mechanical, it helps it to flow or maybe even sway a little bit. Let's go ahead and try playing it in 1. That's going to look like this. 1. So that whole measure gets 1 pulse. That first beat gets a little bit extra emphasis, and then we just kind of drive forward. It's usually a little bit faster too. Let's go ahead and play through this exercise together and you'll get a feel for it. Ready, go. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So it creates a really interesting flow to the music, and I would encourage you, if you're hitting a wall with how to make your music sound more musical, then try playing it in different impulses. If it's a piece that's in 3, you can still play it in 1 if you can't break it in 2. That is my advice for rhythm study number 1. I hope that this is helpful, and thank you very much for watching.